Now let's talk about co-location. But before that, let's do a quick recap on the previous learning. Now we learned that before the cloud, organizations needed to buy physical servers and hardware. They would need to get a space and now build extensive data centers. They had to manage their own power, cooling, and physical security. They faced immense upfront capital expenditure. We compared this to a farmer who needed to own literally everything before they could plant their seeds, right? So in this case, organizations were looking for solutions that could help reduce their upfront cost. And this brought about co-location. Now, what is co-location? So co-location literally means that now a third party is going to build a data center, and then you as an organization are going to rent a small space there that could be enough to accommodate your servers, and you will set up there. So what is the features of a co-location? Just as I said earlier, it's a shared space. So you literally as a business have to rent a space in a third party's data center to host your server and networking hardware. It offered physical security because they offered a robust security system, including surveillance and access control systems. It had redundant power and cooling, which means that you had a guaranteed uptime in case there is a downtime or part of power, the main grid goes down, right? And then also had advanced cooling systems, so you couldn't also suffer from overheated systems. It had high speed and reliable internet access from multiple providers. So this allowed companies to benefit from purpose-built facilities without necessarily having to invest in buildings of their own. Now, let's look at a pictorial view of a typical co-location setup. So a third party is going to set up a data center with power, cooling, internet access, and robust security. And organizations are now going to now rent spaces there, and they are going to share this robust facilities. Now, one of the main co-location providers was Equinix. Let me say is Equinix because they still continue to offer these co-location services. In fact, if you are able to watch this video or you are able to browse the internet, then you are using a piece of Equinix infrastructure. But that is going to be a conversation for another day. Now let's just look at what Equinix offers. They are the largest and most influential co-location provider. They offer highly secure and interconnected data centers. They run what we call the International Business Exchange data centers, or you can just call it the IBX data centers. And a lot of organizations leveraged on them for global reach, their unparalleled connectivity, to also avoid high cost and the complexities of building and managing data centers. So quickly, let's revisit the farmer analogy. So the same farmer, but this time around, they don't have to own the land. They only have to bring their own farming apparatus and seeds. Then the landowner will now provide all the essential services for the land, that is irrigation, protective fencing, and then security for the entire farm, right? So basically, this is a shared land model. So many farmers could also rent a piece of the land with all this infrastructure set up, and they could also farm. So this is basically co-location in farming terms. Now, co-location offered some benefits in the sense that it reduced costs because you as a company wouldn't have to now spend on setting up the infrastructure or the data center yourself. It was quicker to set up because you literally just need to send in your server there and then connect a few cables, and then you are good to go, right? It also improved reliability because it had redundant power, cooling, and then guaranteed your network uptime. So businesses literally could now focus on their business operations or mandate without necessarily having to manage their facilities. Now, even though co-location offered these benefits, there were still some limitations that it came with because it wasn't fully handoff, in the sense that you as an organization still have to purchase and then maintain your servers, and in a lot of cases you will have to physically access the servers to carry out some maintenance or upgrade works. So in summary, co-location reduced the infrastructure burden. It allowed organizations to scale faster without owning everything, but it still wasn't perfect since companies managed their own hardwares, and this laid the foundation for an interesting or the actual source of this series, and that is cloud computing. So In the next series, we are now going to look at how cloud computing basically solved the whole issue of physical infrastructure management. Okay, if you are liking this series so far, kindly subscribe, like, share, and turn on notifications. My name is TheKloudWiz, and I'll see you in the next one.